in the last 30 years something, it's our country has been destroyed and killed so many people. Everything has damaged, and we need to build up again. We need to, yeah. It's sad actually.
I think you always have to remember when you think about Cambodia, the tragedy of the Khmer Rouge is never far behind. Pol Pot succeeded. Pol Pot's aim was to create an agrarian society, a society of uneducated peasants who just did what they were told and worked the land. That's it. So then when that was done, and then the war of course continued into the 80s, into the 90s, who's teaching the kids? The people who are teaching the kids didn't have any education themselves. Who's teaching the teachers? So it really would be impossible for this new generation who is coming of age in the age of the internet. They know what is out there in the world. How can they learn to think creatively, to become part of a modern world?
My name is Ruan, and I'm 22 years old. I was born in Banteay Mean Chey province, which is 2 hours away from Siem Reap. So my childhood was good. I used to work in a rice field, help my family. I have to get up early every day, and I went to bed late and get up early. So it was tough. It was difficult, and it was a really good experience as well. I didn't really think about what is difficult and what is happiness. What is hard in life. The school in my hometown was not really great. I mean, it's not a good quality school. So mean that the teacher, they don't properly do the job. Like they sometimes go to teach and sometimes they don't. Sometimes they work in the rice field or something like that. And my grandfather thought that, hey, why don't you come and live with me in Siem Reap, where you can have a better education, better school. So I went to Anjali House Organization in 2010, which is a really, really magical place. And I lived there for a few years, and I learned so much. I learned so many different things, and like photography, different workshops, painting, drawing, writing, and sports program and something like that. So it was really interesting.
Now, Anjali House grew out of photojournalists. They were new at that time, but they were using a lot of creative people and supplementing their educational program with a lot of arts workshops. I think the one thing that has followed me throughout my life to this day is that I'm a writer. So what that means is that I kind of imagine lives for myself and for other people. And because of that, I'm not always completely in touch with reality, and that means that I've been able to do things that people generally would think I wouldn't be able to do.
When I just stay at my home, I don't know English, and when I hear my friend talk in English, I really want to talk too. But when I come to Anjali, they teach me a lot, and I really have fun here, and especially before I don't like poem or story or writing, but because I think writing a poem is very stressed, and I'm really scared when teacher said we have poem today. But when I study with Sue, she's a very beautiful and great teacher.
I started this program before it was Writing Through, when it was just my own workshop. And I had the idea that I could run my workshop for them. That program, which is now called Writing Through, and uses the creative writing of poems and stories in English to develop conceptual thinking and self-esteem. My particular program, it's something that you can see. We provide this workshop, which is 5 different sessions over 5 days, where we come in using English and a very specific pedagogy. We write group poems, then individual poems in English, working next to a local English teacher who acts as a translator. Okay, as most of you know, my name is Sue, and today we're going to do something that I love very much. And I know at the end of today you will love it too. We're going to write a poem all together. So we have a theme that we agree on with the school. We go in, we talk about the rules. There are 4 of them. Don't think in the normal way. Think with the back of your head. Remember that words have sounds, not only ideas, and don't worry about making mistakes.
No mistake, don't think, and listen, write with your ears, and that make me don't feel scared about the mistake. And when I write with her, I'm really have fun, and I don't know, I have many ideas to write, so I really love her.
We have our own very specific pedagogy, our own very specific techniques that we use. They are techniques that I've seen used by a lot of very good teachers in the West, things like brainstorming. And we have a set of prompts, which will be visual, generally speaking, pictures.
It's new to me that you have to brainstorm, you have to sit in the class with some other student and then brainstorm ideas and write it on the board, and then you kind of like, wow, this is like you got so many ideas, so then you can write. Actually, if you are alone writing yourself alone, you may not have so many different ideas like that. So I think it's really, really great.
There are some NGOs whose program is just a year long. And then they're training for a specific field, usually hospitality, and then those kids go off and they get jobs. So we'll never see those kids again. But there are other NGOs, other schools, where they will have 1 or 2 each year, and sometimes we'll see the same kids, and it builds.
So Helping Hands is a very community-based project. We operate in the village of Prasat Cha. We're about 45 minutes away from the town of Siem Reap, and we work in this village. It's very rural, very isolated. There's no electricity or running water in this village, and Helping Hands provides free education in English and Khmer to about 300 students every year.
Mr. Nun, can you come here? You are the secretary. Come on. Number 5. It's not just only teaching them the language, but also to discipline them, to give them more knowledge about moral. It means that to teach them to be a good people in the society.
Very good, thank you for asking.
And they know how to share things, how to live together. Other than that, we introduce some things like health and hygiene, because in the rural area it's really limited of education, the knowledge about the drinking water, how to use the clean water. They just drink sometimes like the water from the stream, and teaching them how to wash their hands, some just a basic health and hygiene.
We also have magic pencils, which at first was just a little gift that I wanted to give the students at Anjali when I came. It's now turned into a talisman. It's a pencil, it's rainbow colored, it says writing through on it, and every student gets one. And we say to them, these pencils are magic. It's like our own magic wands. It is a physical example of the connection that we are creating. It helps with the magic.
I wrote so many good poems on that magic. It's a great way to write it with pencil. Because if you write with pen, you cannot erase it. So it's make it hard. So if you write with pencil, it's so easy, and it's really right way to do it.
One of the most impactful things is to see them with their magic pencils. That really does open up it's like a physical way of opening up the mind a little bit. And I think it helps them and gives them a little bit of confidence in terms of being creative and thinking about things in a different way.
After we do poetry, then we do a group story day, and then individual story day. Out of all of those writings, we put together a magazine. And then the 5th session, we coach the students on how to present your work, how to stand up in front of an audience and show pride, and not to go like that all the time, but to show pride, to speak loudly. This is literally giving them their voice, where they will each stand up, announce their names, their age in English, and say, I'm now going to read my story to you, or my poem, and then read it in English.
It's all an adventure that you never done before.
Very good. And all of that training goes to what we call the big event. People think that's really just a party. And the NGOs that we work with, the schools that we work with, they don't really understand until they see it, that this is actually not just a party, it's the most important thing of all.
Hello everybody, my name is Vira. I'm 20 years old in this year. So now I would like to share my poem with all of you. So the title is called Give Me Your Breath. The cloud is like you, I'm like the wind. I blow you up, you eclipse the sun. You cover the sun to protect the earth. I feel like the earth that stay under you. You give me warmth from the sun. You give me breath so I can live. You make me bright because you carry me. You are my life, you make me happy.
My name is Sarah. I am the Executive Director at PEPI Empowering Youth. And at PEPI, we are working with young people to make sure that they can reach their potential in the future. So we do have scholarship project, dream management project, ICT, and also English class. So I would say that it is a fortunate happy because we got to know writing through our friends, and because Peppy focus on building young people, building critical thinking skill in young people, and we try different ways. And when we got to meet writing through, they organize different workshop which is promote that through writing and different things. So and they came over and provided training to the students, and they like it very much. And I can see the difference is that maybe the first day the student did not really talk much, express much, but from time to time they could see different angle of their thinking. So yeah.
So I think the first year, I think we were all a little unsure what to expect. It's hard sometimes to take really conceptual ideas and to put them into like a practical model some way in a classroom. And certainly in a culture, or in this particular culture, where some of those concepts that we've talked about aren't things that many students this age would normally necessarily be aware of.
Well, you may think that I'm stupid, but I think we are in a very developing countries, and I think our country still need to go up and up, and education is still, and we're still learning a very basic, like very, how do you say, in very poor way of educating students and people. So I think I'm sure that foreigner they learn a lot. They got really good education, and yeah, and I always believe that they know a lot more than us, and I'm quite happy for them to come, honestly.
I think what we can do is provide different ways of doing things, provide different opportunities for more training, more education, more, just more. And then it's up to them. It's up to each of us to make our own decisions about how we proceed.
If we only focus on our idea, our local idea, we are not able to develop our country to be better, our people to be better. And also the foreigners need to respect what we say as well. We tell them as well. I think instead of telling somebody to do something, like local people to tell expats or to tell foreigners to do something, or foreigners to tell us to do something, we should sit down and tell the story, what it is, and find the ways to work together, empower one another.
I think kids really love this kind of workshop.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's not just a workshop actually. It's they write it, and then they're proud of themselves standing in front of people and read the works. It is amazing, really.
We are asking our students to do something that is very difficult and very frightening. To write in a creative way, in a language that they are not comfortable in a culture where they are more likely to be taught to push down their feelings, not to express them, to just cover it up and go. And very often, not because we're trying to do anything therapeutic, but it's in the nature of the work that emotions come out, experiences come out.
I think a really, really important part of their education, it's not just learning your ABCs and your 1, 2, 3s, it's also about life skills. And I think this is a really critical piece in helping to strengthen those life skills and that critical thinking and creativity.
It's not about writing at all. It's about themselves to use to improve their critical thinking skill and communication, as well as confidence. Because when they join the workshops, they write, they present, and they share their own thinking.
The writing through workshop is it's not just a workshop, you know. It's something else as well, something new you can learn, and it's fun, and you can write about your feeling, and it's like waking you up from death, you know. It's like a power or energy drink to kick your ass and kick your ass and get up and do things, and you know, don't afraid of it. I think it's kind of like a part for me, something that for me to believe and keep in mind that just believe in yourself and do it. So yeah,
I got the magic in me. Every time I touch that track, it turns into gold. Everybody knows I got the magic in me.
well, the words for rules, write with your brain, back of your brain, your ear. Is that wrong?